Limitations. We're all born with them, and no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, there are some things we as simple humans will never achieve. You'll never outrun a cheetah, never outswim a dolphin, never fly. Potential. We've been sitting for centuries, the same mundane human beings. But what if we looked beyond the stars, into the cosmos itself? Maybe then we could truly see beyond our mind's eye, that there is a way, a potential for humans to evolve beyond their natural limitations. What's up guys, I'm Dave Klein, and welcome to the Story of Bloodborne. I think it goes without saying there will be heavy spoilers, so watch at your own discretion. Evolution without courage will be the ruin of our race. It was in the College of Byrgenwerth where the infamous Master Willem taught and presided. The professors and students challenged the notions of what it meant to be human, and how humankind could expand its limits. Perhaps by coincidence or mere fortune, a tomb was discovered beneath the very learning center Willem presided in. This tomb held something never seen before, a pearl slug. Of all the strange life forms that resided in the nooks and crannies of the old labyrinth, the slugs are clear signs of the left-behind Great Ones. This strange life form led to further inquiry and research into the tombs below, a frenzied search to discover the meaning of the pearl slug and what these varied tombs held within. The tomb prospectors searching below soon discovered the dungeons contained much more than mere hunter trinkets. Indeed, they hid the very secrets of the old Great Ones, sought after by those with the insight to imagine greatness. Within the tombs were other beings, Pthumerians, with powers like they'd never seen before. In fact, the Pthumerian tomb was carved out by the Pthumerian superhuman beings that were said to have unlocked the wisdom of the Eldritch Truth. If the Pthumerians could unlock the odd truth and wisdom, how then could Master Willem and his pupils do the same? Along with the Pthumerians, the tomb prospectors stumbled across the chalices, which led to the tombs becoming known as the Chalice Dungeons. Let the chalice reveal the tomb of the gods, let blood be the hunter's nourishment, and let ye partake in communion.
A holy chalice will reveal the tomb of the gods, where hunters partake in communion.
It was through these chalices they began to discover what would lead them to the Great Ones. Blood. One of the basic ingredients used to satiate a holy chalice is the incoagulable ritual blood. The discovery of blood made their dream of evolution a reality. Metamorphosis and the excesses and deviation that followed were only the beginning. By utilizing blood and the blood echoes of others, finally, Willem and his pupils could realize a means to expand human potential. Like the superhuman Pthumerians found within the Chalice Dungeons, humankind could now use blood to channel the Great Ones and once again evolve into a higher entity. A new beginning.
Byrgenwerth is an old place of learning, and the tomb of the gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter. Well, once a group of young Byrgenwerth scholars discovered a holy medium deep within the tomb. This led to the founding of the Healing Church and the establishment of blood healing. In this sense, everything sacred in Yharnam can be traced back to Byrgenwerth.
But the discovery of blood entailed the discovery of undesirable beasts. With the discovery of blood and beasts, multiple schools of thought could only follow. Seeing the beasts and what blood could lead to, Master Willem decided blood was dangerous and thought to find better means to communicate with the Great Ones. He pondered over it for a time, and at Byrgenwerth, Master Willem had an epiphany. We are thinking on the basest of planes. What we need are more eyes. He looked to beings from higher planes for guidance and sought to line his brain with eyes in order to elevate his thoughts. It was this that led to Master Willem gaining insight and learning to connect with the Great Ones. In order to see further, he decided one must see less. Regardless of if he cut out his eyes or simply chose to live blindfolded, he restricted his outward vision so he could focus on seeing inwards. Provost Willem sought an umbilical cord of a Great One in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a Great One by lining his brain with eyes, the only choice he knew if man were to ever match their greatness. While Willem, disillusioned by the limits of human intellect, used insight to study and evolve using the Great Ones, his pupil, Carol, transcribed the inhuman utterings of the Great Ones into what are now called Carol runes. Provost Willem would have been proud of Carol's runes, as they do not rely upon blood in any measure. And although Willem didn't seem to witness the power of the runes, Carol's studies only further made clear his disillusionment with blood, a disagreement that would lead to the founding of the Healing Church.
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood. Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Lawrence.
The Healing Church has its roots in Byrgenwerth and naturally borrows heavily from its uniform design. Lawrence, who is either a colleague or pupil of Willem, disagreed about the use of blood and believed blood was the true calling to greatness. Lawrence believed that, human or no, the oozing blood is a medium of the highest grade and the essence of the formless Great One Odin. Both Odin and his inadvertent worshippers surreptitiously seek the precious blood. Lawrence left Byrgenwerth and Master Willem to build the Odin Cathedral in Yharnam and founded the Healing Church.
As you know, the Healing Church is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, I'm a simple hunter, quite unfamiliar with the ins and outs of the institution, but I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that counselors of the old church reside in the high stratum of the cathedral ward.
Lawrence used the blood of his church both to heal illnesses and to grant supernatural powers.
What afflicted me was incurable, but this town gave me hope. Their strange blood bought me time.
Heir to the ritual of blood, purveyor of ministration, place your hand on the altar's sacred covering and inscribe Master Lawrence's adage upon your flesh. As Lawrence kept his adage in mind, fear the old blood, he and his fellow church members toiled away, experimenting with blood in order to create a new, good blood.
The church controls all knowledge on blood ministration and all varieties of blood. And deep within Cathedral Ward is the old Grand Cathedral, the birthplace of the Healing Church's special blood, or so they say.
He then filled his church with blood saints who were chosen for their merit as vessels for blood and groomed as blood saints. The mere chance of being treated with their blood lent legitimacy to the Healing Church and communion. But as the blood began to spread, so too did the beastly scourge. With the blood, people began to transform. Runesmith Carol describes the beast as a horrific and unwelcome instinct deep within the hearts of men. For some, the craving of blood was too strong, leading to their beastly transformations.
In case you fail to realize, the things you hunt, they're not beasts, they're people.
It was decided something had to be done about the beastly scourge, and Gehrman, the first hunter, stepped up to the cause. He crafted his hunter attire before the workshop existed by making adjustments to everyday clothing, which would later become the basis for all hunters' garb. In fact, the hunter's emphasis on engaging beasts with speed, and therefore of selecting lightweight attire, no doubt traces back to Gehrman's own combat style. Working in tandem with Lawrence, Gehrman then founded the Healing Church Workshop, where he crafted all manner of tools specifically for hunting down beasts and trained future hunters. Ludwig became the first hunter of the church and likely Gehrman's apprentice. Within the church, hunters began to arise who would hunt down beasts while donning black church garb. Most Healing Church hunters are elementary doctors who understand the early prevention of the scourge, achieved by disposing of victims, and even potential victims, before signs of sickness manifest themselves. Whether it be to save others from the beasts, to slay the beasts and gain the blood echoes for their own purposes, or to prevent regular Yarnamites from realizing blood was the cause of the beastly curse, the Healing Church hunters struck down the beast with a vengeance. The church takes a heavy-handed, merciless stance towards the plague of beasts, an irony not lost upon the wielders of this most symbolic weapon. As time progressed, varying echelons formed within the church, the highest being formed by the School of Mensis, based in the Unseen Village, and the choir, occupying the upper cathedral ward. Members of the choir are both the highest-ranking clerics of the Healing Church and scholars who continue the work that began at Byrgenwerth. The eye coverings indicate their debt to the teachings of Master Willem, even though their paths diverged. Like Master Willem, the upper echelon of the church understood and accepted the need to look within, and the need for more eyes. Therefore, they too chose to block all external sight. Continuing in their research of the Great Ones and attempt to evolve, the choir and Healing Church continued searching deeper within the Chalice dungeons, eventually discovering the Great Ease Chalice. The Great Ease Chalice became the cornerstone of the choir, the elite delegation of the Healing Church. It was also the first Great Chalice brought back to the surface since the time of Byrgenwerth, and allowed the choir to have audience with Ebriatus. Ebriatus, another of the Great Ones, allowed the choir an epiphany. Here we stand, feet planted in the earth, but might the cosmos be very near us, only just above our heads? The sky and the cosmos are one. And while the choir looked to the cosmos for Great Ones and to further evolve, the School of Mensis looked within and to dreams in order to reach the Great Ones. They would don a hexagonal iron cage known as a Mensis cage, which would restrain the will of self, allowing one to see the profane world for what it is. It also serves as an antenna that facilitates contact with the Great Ones of the dream. But, to an observer, the iron cage appears to be precisely what delivered them to their harrowing nightmare. As they looked to beckon the Great Ones, they realized dreams were the best medium, and the only way to call out to the Great Ones was to utilize a third of an umbilical cord. Every infant Great One has this precursor to the umbilical cord. Every Great One loses its child, and then yearns for a surrogate. Master Willem himself tried this, and Provost Willem sought the cord in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a Great One, by lining his brain with eyes. It was through this Willem summoned and connected with Ram, the vacuous spider. However, something seemed to go wrong. Vacuous meaning having or showing a lack of thought or intelligence. Mindless. Willem is found seemingly brain dead, like the spider itself. The Byrgenwerth spider hides all manner of rituals and keeps our lost master from us. A terrible shame. The School of Mensis attempted to use a third of an umbilical cord as well. Madmen toil surreptitiously in rituals to beckon the moon, Mensis being Latin for moon, or moon month. And according to the moon Carol rune, the Great Ones that inhabit the nightmare are sympathetic in spirit and often answer when called upon. The School of Mensis called upon the Great Ones, beckoning the moon and using a third of an umbilical cord. The cord granted Mensis audience with Murgo, but resulted in a stillbirth of their brains. The immense brain that Mensis retrieved from the nightmare was indeed lined with eyes on the inside, but they were of an evil sort, and the brain itself was terribly rotten. But even still, it was a legitimate Great One. What resulted was Mensis' nightmare, and the beckoning of the moon causing the Great Ones to descend upon the plane of man. When the red moon hangs low, the line between man and beast is blurred, and when the Great Ones descend, a womb will be blessed with child. This womb belonging to Yharnam, the Pthumerian queen. Gehrman too attempted to utilize an umbilical cord, as we find a third of an umbilical cord within the old church workshop. What resulted was the hunter's dream. The third umbilical cord precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, which beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. Gehrman, a hunter to the core, connected with the Great One, the moon presence, and as such, his hunter's dream became a reality. Here he was free to channel blood echoes and evolve himself to a new plane of existence. Here he could live longer than ever imaginable. Here, his fetish-sized doll would become a real being. And here, he was stuck.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own.
After being administered blood, your character can awaken in the hunter's dream. While it's never made clear, you're perpetually told to seek the pale blood. It's possible pale blood refers to the blood of the infant Mergo, utilized by the school of Mensis. Or it's possible that your blood transfusion was of pale blood and is what's allowing you to live within the hunter's dream and share some of Gehrman's powers, especially considering the hunter's dream is associated with the pale moon. Within his dream, you can channel the blood echoes of your fallen victims to evolve yourself and become the ultimate hunter. Gehrman, forever a hunter, tasks you who still walks within the plane of human existence with ending the scourge of beasts. To escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. As Mensis is the one to beckon the moon, which caused both the Great Ones to descend and the line between man and beast to be blurred, this is ultimately what needs to be taken care of. The cause happens to be Mergo, a Great One surrogate infant ripped from Yharnam and being taken care of by Mergo's wet nurse, raised in the nightmare of Mensis. It's only by entering the realm of Mensis' nightmare and silencing the harrowing cry of the newborn that you can end their nightmarish ritual and cause the moon, and thereby scourge of the beasts, to subside. At least for this hunt, until another person decides to beckon the Great Ones and the cycle begins anew.
Good hunter, you've done well. The night is near its end. Now, I will show you mercy. You will die, forget the dream, and awake under the morning sun. You will be freed from this terrible hunter's dream.
In completing your task, and the Great Ones subside, that means Gehrman too must subside, hence why the hunter's dream is on fire, until he and the hunter's dream draw closer with the next beckoning of the pale moon.
Farewell, my keen hunter. Fear the blood.
Gehrman believes he made a mistake interacting with the Great Ones, and offers you what he believes to be the sweet release of his dream and his own nightmare. By accepting, you allow him to cut you out of his dream, where you'll awaken in an abandoned Yharnam. While it's never explicitly stated, I believe this makes you like the other hunters you've found throughout the game who live in Yharnam. You still maintain your powers, yet can no longer dream and live in the currently beastless Yharnam.
You still have dreams? Tell the little doll I said hello.
Each grave in the hunter's dream representing another hunter who's gone through the cycle.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
If you choose to instead fight Gehrman and win, you'll discover the moon presence who will take a hold of you and cause you to succeed Gehrman as the keeper of the dream and watcher over the land.
And so, the hunt begins again.
Finally, if you consume 3 umbilical cords as the school of Byrgenwerth seemed to discover was key, you'll gain the insight to see through the Moon Presence's attempt to control you. In defeating it, and from consuming 3 umbilical cords, you yourself become a mix between a Great One and a human. You become an infant Great One, lifting humanity into its next childhood. And what humanity's next childhood could possibly mean, I believe is up to your interpretation. Alright guys, that wraps up the story of Bloodborne. I believe much of what I talked about, especially near the end, is up for interpretation and speculation, and I'd love to hear your theories as to how you believe the nightmares, dreams, and world of Yharnam are interwoven. For the sake of length, there were actually a lot of details I left out, which I intend to talk about in future lore videos, so I hope you'll check back for those. If you're looking for more videos, I highly recommend Quaylog's story video, as she does a great job explaining various elements of the story. If you did enjoy my video, I hope you'll check out my other lore videos I've made, or for something a little more fun and lighthearted, check out my super shows, which I put a lot of work into. Alright, I'll see you next time. Happy hunting.